How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lo4f, and today I'm going to do a mission. It's just, yeah, that's where you'll find it, not in the contracts. This one's called Taking Out the Junk from the Mine. The reason I ended up picking this one, it's pretty simple. You've got to grab 2 lots of garbage from, an abandoned mine, take it across the other side of the map, and for completing this mission, you unlock a truck repair station thing which is on the other side of the map, which is quite handy because, as the map's pretty large, then you don't have to travel all the way back to repair yourself at the garage. So, like I say, pretty simple. It's kind of at the little station on the left-hand side where there's a twin steer and a Cat 745C that, for a mission, you've got to drop them off somewhere. And yeah, like I say, you get a truck repair service thing. It was also a mission. I ended up picking this Derry 15C. As it's not the longest mission, so it's not too bad. There's a lot of things I like about this truck. In some ways, it's a bit like the Zik 605R. It's got a roof rack on the top, 8-wheel drive, but it's also got a couple of things like you can have a crane and a sideboard and so on. So in some ways, it's more versatile than the Zik 605R. The main issue is it's just like how slow it goes. Really, you can see now ticking along the road. He gets its foot down. It's not too bad for the advanced special gearbox, but yeah, look, like when you get to mud, I mean I'm still in 5th gear, and it just goes pretty slow. I think part of it that it's bleeding its power through some of the wheels are slipping, but yeah, again, I just think it's the way they've broken the gearboxes. The advanced special, like the Zix, hasn't really felt the same for the last couple of phases compared to what it used to be. It used to be an absolute sort of unit that had plough its way along pretty successfully, whereas now everything feels like it just runs out of juice once you're kind of on anything except the road, really. I think this thing could definitely do with diffs permanently on. I think that'd help a little bit, but yeah, whatever they've done to the gearboxes, I need to change it back. And I have got a bit of a heavier trailer for this one. I picked this trailer just partly out of curiosity to see how well this Derry had dragged the trailer. I don't really think that's making the difference though. It certainly shouldn't in a truck this size and all the rest of it. I've found the engine by now, and I've got the top engine in this vehicle, which is apparently like the new top engine in the game. It's more powerful than the KZ-GT engine, like the twin steer, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, in theory, this thing should be motoring its way along a bit. Like, I only want a little bit more speed, but again, it just feels like they've messed with the torque and everything, and you're not really getting what you should be getting, so it's kind of like driving along on half throttle in some places. And yeah, again, apologies for last night's, well, I didn't do the stream in the end, but yeah, normally obviously supposed to be streaming. I was going to do a video, and then I was just messing around on the footage. I didn't really have anything in particular, so I decided against it in the end. I just thought I'll do a normal mission video and kind of let you know what's going on. So basically, when I can make it happen on this playthrough, this is my normal playthrough. I don't have mods or anything on this playthrough. Admittedly, it's not as risky on this playthrough, and touch wood, I've not had like an accidental blue screen on this playthrough, but I have been able to make it blue screen multiple times just by trying to load up. The most consistent way it seems to get it to blue screen, I've found, is loading the Heartlands map up. So if I go from here to the Heartlands map, sometimes it'll crash. Again, it's not every time on like this playthrough with no mods or anything. But then obviously for the live stream, I normally go on my mod playthrough, because what I don't want to do on the live stream is play this playthrough and then I kind of use up a load of missions that then I can't make a video for because I've already done the missions. So I kind of, I've got a separate playthrough. When I'm putting mods on, the game, like, was it yesterday or sort of the day before technically now, but say 35 hours ago, I was turning on my modded playthrough, and as it was loading up to Albany River, it crashed and blue screened me about 5 times before it had even loaded the game up full stop. And eventually I just kept like loading the game back up, keep trying it. I did turn a couple of mods off in the end, and I don't think it is specifically these mods. I turned off like the coal miner and all that, the road max thing, just because I'm not really using them much at the minute. And then I actually loaded up to the main menu. Well, like I got onto Albany River and all the rest of it, but particularly when the mods are on, it's still crashing. One, I can make it happen like very consistently when I've got all my mods on. When I travel to the Heartlands garage again on phase 8, but also it was still doing it if I just park up like in the garage, like I come out the actual garage, like park in the sort of yard outside, kind of where my crane vehicle is and all the rest of it, sort of where I'd start the videos, drive out of the yard and turn right, and then it'd crash. Just keep blue screening me. So I kept trying different things. I was turning a few mods off, trying it, because someone said in the comments that like I just had the same kind of thought process, that they said maybe, you know, like the amount of mods running, it's using up more RAM space and it's just making it a bit more likely to crash. Yeah, so I took some mods off. I don't want to take them all off though, because if I load the game up with no mods on, it's going to delete, literally by now I would have thought, hundreds of mods that I've got placed on various different maps from phase 1 all the way through to phase 9 now. So I don't want to do that if I can help it. But yeah, essentially, like I kept getting it to last a little bit longer. That's what she said. But it kept blue screening me. Eventually, I just parked up the truck, left the actual game on for like, I think an hour or two. And then when I went back to it, yeah, because I think I went and watched a film, came back, and the game was still on, so it hadn't blue screened. But then I recovered to the garage, drove out the garage, and it crashed and blue screened again. And yeah, that was probably when it did that. That was about half an hour before I was starting the live stream. I loaded the game back up, and it crashed before I even got onto the game. Like, it crashed while it was on the loading screen for Albany River. Then I loaded the game back up again, and it didn't crash. It made it to where I could load the game up, but then I tried it again. Travelling to Heartlands just seems to be like a consistent way to trigger the bug, but I've been having it happen even without travelling like through the gateway. That's what I was trying yesterday for many hours. The photo I posted of like the amount of crashes I had, that's not even close to the full list of probably, I'd imagine somewhere in the region of 40-45 crashes between last week and this week doing it. But then yeah, as I was saying, like on my main playthrough, this that I'm on now, I've made it crash by travelling to Heartlands and stuff, but I haven't actually had one happen kind of like, I've been able to get my footage for the videos and all the rest of it, and that's not crashing. But yeah, when it comes to the mods, but I don't think it's a specific mod, because like I said, I've made it crash on this with no mods at all. There's clearly some bug going on with phase 9 that, fingers crossed, they patch it pretty bloody soon, because I'm not the only one. That some people have said in the comments they've not had any issues whatsoever if they got all their mods on. Other people have said yeah, their game is crashing all the time. It's one of them where even within each console, as they got Xbox, PlayStation and all that, they sometimes, like just throughout the last seasons and everything we've had, sometimes like there'll be, you know, a third of people who have got PlayStation get this bug where they're consistently crashing, and the other thirds don't have any issues. And then yeah, sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. I just seem to be getting pretty unlucky at the minute, that every time I load up my mod playthrough, yeah, it just keeps blue screening me, which, as I've said before, it automatically ends the live stream. So it'd be bad enough if it didn't end the live stream and it just crashed the game and I could still carry on kind of talking and reload the game or whatever. But yeah, as happened last week, I believe it was, it ended 3 live streams. I think the longest live stream managed to last 5 minutes before it just automatically ends it. So I just don't want to keep, I don't want to take everyone's time up and say, you know, gather round, I'm going to do a live stream, and then it just keeps crashing and abruptly ends everything like a few minutes later. So yeah, that's kind of the situation at the minute with it. It's a pain in the arse because I really don't like missing the live streams anyway, and there's some mods I want to try out. Like I've played around only in the yard really, because I don't want to start uncovering the map. I want to do that kind of on the live stream. the AGL version of the Derry, I like that a lot. Like, I just keep sort of drifting around the yard, going out onto the road, because that's sometimes when it triggers the blue screen, and then back round, kind of just looping around the yard, messing around. But yeah, the AGL version of this Derry does feel very nice. It's a lot better on the power. Obviously, you've got a lot more selection of gearboxes to whichever speed you want to get up to. The engine power feels nice. I think it's also done a bit of rear steer on the back tyres, so the turning circle's nicer. It's yeah, it actually feels a lot like it'd suit Burning Hill or Burning Mill or whatever. Like, it feels like a racing truck kind of thing. It doesn't feel OP or like it's ridiculous or anything like that, but it's got a really nice consistent speed, and you get a good little drift going on it and all sorts. So yeah, I would like to do the live stream. The only good thing about it that I've kind of thought in my head is at least it's, at the minute at least, compartmentalised to, it's just messing my live stream up. It's not like, I'm still able, thankfully, to get on the game and get these videos. But you see, in fact, there's a perfect example where it just did the saving thing, and you just seen like a little frame rate glitch for a second. That keeps making me nervous every time now, because that's literally pretty much what it does before it blue screens. I can't get the footage and show you it blue screening, because the second it does, it kicks me out into the PlayStation main menu, and then it just says you like unable to access the menu or whatever to save the footage. That's why in the end, yeah, I took like the pictures I took out to take on my phone, just because I couldn't even save like the screenshot on the TV. But yeah, like I say, that's the situation at the minute. It appears to be like it is a glitch with the game. I'm pretty certain it's the SnowRunner game, not like Sony or PlayStation or anything, because when I go into like the error history, it shows you all the codes and all that. It basically says it's like an issue with the snow, like an error occurred with the SnowRunner game, so it kicks me out. I found some other errors where I've had like, you know, system software glitch and all sorts. They were like obviously not recently or anything. So yeah, it's definitely with the game. I think it's just because they've like updated the game. We've got phase 9 now. It's obviously something's triggering a bug, and as I said, turning some mods off seemed to help, but nothing in particular. I even went and re-downloaded the Hope County map, which I've not used for ages, but I just remember I deleted that last week to free up some room, and then that's when that was crashing. Which, for this phase, was the first time I'd had a blue screen crash, but like I said, now I kind of know mostly how to trigger it. I'm pretty certain I could trigger it again now, just on this playthrough with no mods. Obviously I'm trying to avoid that. One, it doesn't really seem to happen on this playthrough unless I try and travel to Heartlands, for example. Heartlands seems to have the highest rate of blue screen in it. Travelling to Crossroads does as well, but not as often. Yeah, so I don't really know what's going on with it, but I keep sort of sending an error report and all the rest of it. I was thinking though, I assume when you send an error report on the PlayStation, it sends it to Sony. I don't know if the actual game devs themselves will get the information or not. But yeah, either that's it really. I mean, next week I'll test it again. To be honest, it's driving me mad because the amount of hours I've spent, and it's one of them. I can't really test to find the problem. It's like trying to prove a negative. I can't find what's causing the problem. I just have to keep going through loads of different things to kind of help decide what's not causing the problem. But yeah, that's very, very slowly narrowing things down really, and I still don't know 100% what's causing it. Some people have said, and I'm kind of agreeing, I just don't know enough to know, but you can see a lot of the trees don't fully load their graphics until you get close enough to them or whatever. When you're in the yard at the garage, a lot of the trees in the background just look like, yeah, they've been painted by a 5-year-old or something. So it could be some issue going on with just the memory of the game, and yeah, that's it really. That's all I know so far. So, like I say, I just didn't want to start the stream and have it crash 5 minutes later and have that situation again where sort of, yeah, I just don't want to waste everyone's time really. If it's not working properly, then I'll yeah, I think it's just best to skip it. But still, not too happy about it, because well, yeah, I was looking forward to playing with like the mod versions as well. Especially if like this truck, you can see here as I've been yapping away, ticking along with this mission. Again, it's not a terrible truck. It did tip at some point as well. I think it's a little bit easier to tip than I'd like it to be, but I don't think it's easily tippable. I just mean in comparison to, say, the Zik 605R is pretty difficult to tip, or at least enough to where it's pretty decent. Yeah, the collobs, that sort of stuff. This thing feels so far like it's tipped a little bit on the easy side. But yeah, it's just the speed, the fact that it bleeds a bit of power and all the rest of it. And this will be the first one I'll do a gameplay and review video. I'd like to get that done this week if I can. Obviously I need like a pretty big window of time for doing that, to get all that done in one night. But yeah, normally I used to test them and get it done pretty quick. This time that's why I'm using it now a bit and all the rest of it. I also used it to explore the burned forest map, just to get a bit of a feel what it's like on the maps, because sometimes, especially recently, they seem to code each phase a little bit different. So if I now go back to like Michigan in this truck, it'll probably drive different, and I reckon have a little bit more speed and sort of bit more consistency to the how well it drives and all the rest of it. But anyway, yeah, we got there, dropped the 2 lots of garbage off, whatever it is. Yeah, and you get that truck repair square, which is pretty cool as well, because it refilled my roof rack, so that's nice, and that's, yeah, handy to have that, really. Yeah, that's about it for today, though. I hope you enjoyed, I hope that helps. Thanks for watching, thanks to my Patreon members. Peace out, Lo4f, because he's a beast, and I'll be back soon.